Okay, so welcome to the Acquisition One-on-One. I'm gonna explain why you're probably not booking enough appointments for your agency, consulting business, or coaching business, B2B coaching business. Now, one thing is that most of you are gonna be running an agency. Either it's gonna be an AI automation agency, marketing agency, social media agency, whatever the fuck it is. You're gonna be running an agency most of the time, probably about 90% of you. Now, I'm gonna explain with a simple pyramid rule why you're not booking enough appointments, what you need to focus on, and what are your really next steps, the game plan I'm gonna lay down for you. So let's draw this pyramid, because this is what we're gonna be using throughout the entire video. Now let me explain all of the steps that make up this pyramid. So at the bottom, we're going to have something called paradigm. Now what that really means is, I'm going to explain in more depth later, but this is really how you see client acquisition, how you see appointment booking, how you see your business. And this is very important. Like, a lot of people disregard this and they think it's just let's get down to business. But this is the foundation of the whole pyramid, because if the Egyptians tried to build a pyramid from the pinnacle down to the foundation, it wouldn't work. That's just not how we build things as humans. Now, the next thing is going to be something called niche plus channel. So I just put it as a C. But niche plus channel, what that means, what that entails, is the market that you're helping. So niche, this should be as specific as possible, because a lot of agencies, consultants, and some B2B coaches that I'm speaking with, they just work with everybody. They are generalists. And people, they don't pay generalists, they pay specialists, okay? They pay people who know how to solve their specific problem at their specific current situation and fix their pain. And this is what people are going to pay for, not somebody who can do Google Ads for everybody. Do you understand? So channel, this is the next thing in the same layer, is the channel. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, because it's really the channel that you're going to reach your niche. So one thing, that if you're maybe doing a LinkedIn outreach and you're helping gyms with Facebook ads, it's all going to work, because almost no gym owner is active on LinkedIn, or if they don't even have a LinkedIn at all. So LinkedIn is all going to work for gyms, for example, and for the B2B niche, the niche that I'm in, Snapchat is not going to work. Snapchat outreach is not going to work, and TikTok outreach is not going to work. I mean, of course it makes sense, but some people do this, right? And for, let's say, for dentists, if you're helping dentists, which is a bad niche, I don't recommend it. Well, if you know what you're doing, it's not a bad niche, but for most beginners and for most people who don't have enough experience in it, it's going to be a bad niche. And if you're reaching out to dentists through emails, and you're then wondering what the fuck is going on, it's because they're not screening their emails. Their assistants are just reporting you to spam, or just archiving your emails. Do you understand? So this is the next part. You need to nail in your niche and nail in your channel. After that, we have your offer. Now this is very important. When you build out these two things, so when you have a paradigm in place, because if you don't have one and you think business is hard, and you think client acquisition is hard, and you think you can't get more than 2 appointments a day, you're never going to get them. And you need to understand that this is the most important thing. You're going to build everything in your business, you're going to build on top of this. Like, this is going to be the foundation. That's why it's at the bottom of the pyramid. Now the offer is really a bit more advanced foundation, right? So when you already have these two predefined, the offer is really going to be your next foundation. And what lays on top of the offer is something that I call inputs. And let's put also the last one, so the pinnacle, is stimuli. So I just put it as stim. But stimuli, let me explain what the inputs and the stimuli really mean. Now, I'm gonna explain it right here. So this is a human, okay? This is a stranger that you don't know yet, but you're going to reach out to them. This is your stimuli. This is gonna be your stimuli. And this is gonna be action. So this is how client acquisition works in very simple terms, and this is it doesn't get more simple than this. So a stranger, typically in your niche, this is an input. So an input is where you're sourcing the strangers from. If you're sourcing them from Apollo, if you're doing personal sourcing on LinkedIn, if you're getting them from Instagram, whatever you're doing, inputs are gonna be, they're really gonna be the way you're getting these strangers, how you're collecting their information, specifically for outbound, right? When you're doing ads, you can talk about you know, custom audiences, building your audience, whatever the fuck. I'm not good at ads. You probably are. But look, inputs is very important, but it's at the big, it's like closer to the pinnacle, right? Because if you don't nail all of this three inputs don't matter. Because if you're gonna be reaching out with a bad offer, no niche, and bad paradigm, you're not gonna get any meetings. Now, after the inputs are corrected, right? So after you have a nice way of sourcing leads, or if you're doing ads, of finding a good audience, selecting a good audience, what you're going to do next is define stimuli. Now, this is the least important thing on this, and most people think it's the most important, because stimuli, it really entails scripts, frameworks. What else? What else does it entail? Well, mainly these two things, right? So scripts and frameworks, right? So we have something called cold calling frameworks, pitch frameworks, right? So when you're pitching through DMs in a voice note or video format, you're going to be using a framework. And when you're using a script, it's going to be usually an email outreach, you're using a script. Or if you're DMing using a text message, copy and paste text message, you're going to be using a script. And these are the things that matter the least, because if you have a good input, if you have a good offer, if you have a good niche plus channel, and if you have a good paradigm, it's not gonna matter so much of what you put in front of people. But of course it's gonna matter, but if you have all of this nailed in, it's gonna be irrelevant. So let me talk about this a bit more, okay? So what stimuli, what it really consists of is these three main things, right? So it's gonna be offer. So you're gonna be pitching your offer. It's gonna be your credibility. It's gonna be CTA. So this is really the three main things that you're gonna be talking about in your stimuli. And this is all built on top of these things, right? So on top of all of this. And people think this is what matters the most, right? So I just gave you one framework on how you do the stimuli. And if you just use this, if you nail the offer, if you have some credibility, if you don't, it's okay. You don't have to include this in. It helps, of course it helps. But you don't have to include this. If you have the offer and a good CTA, and also like a personalization, that's another thing I forgot to include it. Personalization, very important. I don't know how the fuck I forgot about this. So personalization is another thing, right? So these four things. And personalization, if you don't have good credibility, just get it more personalized. But still, don't think like personal messages are gonna beat volume, because they are not gonna be able to do that. Volume and quality are gonna beat only volume and only quality every single time. So you want to do quality, so quantity and quality at the same time. So this is a bit more of a deep dive into the stimuli. Now what I want to talk about is the other four layers. So the input, there's not much to talk about here. You just need to find a good industry-specific sourcing platform. If you're working in the B2B, LinkedIn's gonna be the way. If you're working with gyms, Instagram's gonna be the way. If you're working with home improvement businesses, you're gonna wanna use Google Maps. It's very simple. Like nailing in the inputs, it's gonna be much easier, but it's gonna take time. So you wanna hire a lead sourcing, I don't know, VA, okay? So you wanna hire somebody who's gonna source the leads for you, and that's what we have in place right now. Of course, we use databases like Apollo, but it's not predictable, right? Because sometimes you can get very good results with Apollo, and sometimes you're gonna get very bad results. So for inputs, there's not much to talk about. For the offer, on the other hand, there is a lot to talk about, and I have a video specifically talking about offers, but I'm gonna recap it. So what you have when it comes to offers is something called a promise. You have something called risk reversal. You have something called time frame, and also methodology. So this is really how I see offers. Methodology, okay. This is really how I see offers. There's a whole bunch of... Okay, so my camera cut out for some fucking reason. I already finished the video, but let's get back to it, because I'm motivated. Let's do this. So I was talking about offers, okay? Let's get back to this. Promise, risk reversal, time frame, and methodology. Now I'm gonna talk about these things. Promise is something that you can promise to your niche, really, right? So this part below right here. Promise can be something like 55 ready to close appointments in 84 days. This is our promise. It can be something like 20 quote inquiries from I don't know, freight forwarders every single month. It can be something like 5 qualified buyers every quarter. So this is gonna be the promise, right? But the promise is not gonna matter if you don't have a risk reversal. So if you can't back this up. Now, risk reversal is really to give them the confidence. Now you can do risk reversal, or if you have very strong credibility, which I doubt, because if you're watching this video, you're probably making less than 50K a month, just like me. And risk reversal is gonna give you this extra credibility in the space. So you can do something like, are you gonna work for free if it doesn't work? Are you gonna do commission basis? Are you going to give them the money back if it doesn't work? Something like this, right? So you want to put the risk reversal in place. Time frame is really in how much time you can achieve this. Very simple. For example, for my agency, it's 84 days. I've already stated it with a promise. And then methodology is really the vehicle on how you can get them this promise. So methodology is the least important thing. This is what the prospects care the least about. They care the most about the promise. So let me do it like this. The most important thing is the promise. The second most is the risk reversal, although you could argue that the risk reversal is more important. Then the third one is time frame, and then the fourth one is methodology. So the promise is the most important because it's really what you can promise, right? If you can only promise one appointment, it doesn't matter. Even if you put a risk reversal, like I'll give you $10,000 if I can get you one appointment. Like they're gonna believe you that you can get them one appointment because it's not much. Time frame is going to be in how much time you can achieve it. Now this is also important because if you're promising 55 or 60 appointments, or I don't know, 50 job requests every month, and if it doesn't, like if you're just not no time frame, right? Not every month. If you're offering 60 job inquiries, if it doesn't work, you're gonna give them the money back plus wire them $5,000. But if you can do this in 10 years, it's not gonna matter because everybody can do it in 10 years. And then the methodology is the least important thing because it doesn't matter how you're gonna get them, the 50 appointments. And even if you have a good time frame, if you have a good promise and a good risk reversal, the vehicle is not gonna matter. Now it's gonna matter a little bit because some people are gonna have latent conditions that are gonna make them believe that this is bad. Like if you're doing Facebook ads, some gym owners or some home improvement companies are gonna have bad experiences with marketing agencies and they're gonna believe this bad. But you can really position it like you can destroy this with a strong risk reversal and a good promise. So this is explaining the offer part. Now let's go into the niche, right? So let's delete this. Now explaining the niche. So it's really gonna be up to you what niche you go in. But you're gonna have to follow a couple of things. So the niche has to be validated. It has to be, how can I say this? Validated really means it has to be tested, right? So you also can use the SPY approach. This is gonna fall under the validated. Now let me do something. There needs to be at least 10 plus success stories in your space. So basically 10 competitors that are doing the same thing as you and generating over $1 million a month. There has to be at least 10 people, otherwise it's not a viable niche. Now, of course, if it's like at least 2, like you can still test it, but it's gonna be harder. Now, the second thing, there has to be at least 30K people in the space. Now, there might be 10 competitors, but they might have the whole market if it's only 30,000 businesses. And a very good example with this is the med spa niche. I think there's like 60,000 med spas in the world. And like there's a couple of big players who have the entire market. So this is it. And also with the gym space, it's very similar, but there's still opportunity in that space. And the SPY approach, I have a video talking about this. So the SPY approach is really coming into the business. This is you. And you come into this competitor business and you take their information. You represent yourself as a prospect, so you're in disguise, and you just take their information. So this is what you're going to do to your competition. This is what you're going to do. And then the channel, it's really dependent upon the niche that you choose. But you just use your brain. You're not stupid. You're probably very smart if you're running an agency. And if you are generating some money with it, because you have to be, you can get smart. Like if you have above 80 IQ, you can just read books and get smart and do some IQ tests. If you have below 80 IQ, I wouldn't recommend starting a business. But essentially, you probably have over 80 IQ. But the channel, let's get back to this. If you have over 80 IQ, you're gonna know what channel to pick, because if you're going with, I don't know, if you're going with home improvement companies, you're not gonna reach out to them through, I don't know, through Snapchat, okay? Like, you're not stupid. If you're helping the B2B businesses, you're probably not gonna reach out to them through TikTok. They understand what I'm saying, right? So you need to pick the right channel, and if you do that, like now, this is a bit more advanced, right? If you're working with dentists or a niche like that or lawyers, you're not gonna be sending them emails because they don't screen them. This is what we found working with some clients who had been in this exact niches. So you're not gonna go with the dentists. You're not gonna go with a cold email if you're helping dentists or law firms. So you wanna also do some research. You need IQ, but you can also do some research. Now let's talk about the paradigm, the foundation. So this is the foundation, right? So your paradigm needs to be set in. And the way you fix your paradigm is first by believing. You need to have faith in your ability to fix your paradigm. So if you see client acquisition and appointment booking as hard, it's gonna be hard for you. And if you see it as easy, over time, it's gonna become easy. Very important. If you see it as impossible, you're not gonna get it. The next thing is mindset, importance. You need to realize how important the mindset is. Now, if you're religious, you already know this. But I'm gonna highlight this again, because if you don't, this is very similar to this. If you don't believe, you're not gonna get it. And if you don't believe mindset is important, you're not gonna fix it. So you need to believe that it is very important, because it is very important. Like, if you have a shit mindset, you're gonna get shit results. If you think appointment booking is hard, if you think like you can't fix your mindset and it's not important, like the most important thing is stimuli and the scripts, you're not gonna get any fucking results. So you need to believe in this. The last thing, yeah, I think it's gonna be the last thing. It's gonna be your environment. So who do you surround yourself with? Like, are you talking with drug dealers? Are your friends putting your business down? Is your family like talking shit about you behind your back? Who are you surrounding yourself with? How does your office look like? Environment is very important because it ultimately yields who you are. After I started, like recently, I just started changing my environment. I'm gonna move out of my country very, very quickly. I don't like it here, but essentially, once I started fixing this, like my business is exploding right now. It's getting so much better, and it's very important. It might not make sense at the moment, or if you're smart, it may make sense, and if you have experience in this, but you might be stuck in your ways. You might be believing like environment. Who cares about this? Let's just get results. Let's do some action, and it is very important. Like action is very important, but if you don't have this nailed in, it's gonna be shit. Now I also want to give you a quick idea. And I think this can be a paradigm shift for you. I read this in the book, I believe it was Goals from Brian Tracy. So ask yourself, if, like, let me phrase it like this. What do I do now? Like, very important. What do I do now? Like in this exact moment, to get X, Y, or Z. So ask yourself, what do I do now to get more appointments? What do I do now to get more clients? Like immediate action, to get some cash in. Like let's get some cash. If you get appointments, you're gonna get sales, and if you get sales, you're gonna get cash, you're gonna get liquidation, and it's very important. Like you're gonna get liquid cash. You're gonna be able to spend it. So what do I do now to get some more cash? And if the answer is I need to do some cold calling, I need to do cold email, I need to do LinkedIn, I need to run more ads, I need to invest back in the infrastructure, do this. And if the resistance is like a part of you, the weak part, the bitchy part, that's telling you, we can't do this right now because of X, Y, and Z, like this is ultimately what's gonna destroy your business and make you stuck at where you're at. Like if you're making 5K a month, similar to me, and if you believe that like your way is the way, and this is not gonna work, because there's people making 100K, there's people making 1 million, there's people making $10 million doing the exact same thing as you. So if you believe like you're the best, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna get anywhere, and you're gonna get stuck. And that's why most people get stuck, and they keep listening to this resistance part, right? So this is like a string pulling you back, like the chain. This is you, and this is the resistance. It's like you're its dog right now, probably. This is the resistance pulling you back. And the resistance is a subconscious part of you that doesn't want you to succeed, because if you do succeed, you're going to change as a person and it's going to die. So this is the past version of you. This is the version that you're the version that you're right now. And this right here is the becoming version. This is who you want to be. So resistance right here is pulling you back, and what you need to do, let me grab a green marker. You're gonna break the chain like this, and then you're gonna get free, and you're gonna put your hands up. It's like breaking the chains analogy, right? So you want to free yourself of resistance and ask yourself, what do I do now to get more appointments, to get more sales, to get more clients? Immediate action, make some money. So this is it. This is it for the video. I didn't want to include this in, but I think it's going to be very valuable because it can be a paradigm shift for a lot of people. It was a paradigm shift for me. I also suggest grabbing the book Goals by Brian Tracy. I don't have it with me right now. I read the online version, but it's a very valuable book. Like, it has a lot of this kind of ideas, and they do work very well. So thanks for watching. Like, stay tuned for the next video because I'm gonna be posting a lot of value, and have an amazing day and stay sharp.